Welcome to my very first Stranger Things Season 3 episode review video, as this is the Season 3 premiere. Before I get into that though, pretty important, if you aren't caught up to the point where I am at rewatching or watching Stranger Things, or you're just not entirely sure, then you definitely need to take the initiative and pay attention to the episode's title, which of course I'll mention, as well as put in the description. If that happens to be the case, you find that you're not caught up, it would be my recommendation that you don't watch this detailed review any further to avoid any potential spoilers. And full disclosure, thus far, I've already watched every single episode of Stranger Things. I just want to rewatch the show to let it resonate, because it's in my top 20 favorite shows of all time. It's possible it's in my top 10. Doing this rewatch and review series will help me determine where it actually ranks. It's possible it's close to top 10, though, that's for sure. And of course, I'll be reviewing the 5th and final season of Stranger Things, whenever that decides to come out, which I'm hearing late October, November-ish. So once that comes out, I'll be doing reviews of those. So come back to the channel to see my reviews of the final season of Stranger Things. So big fan again of the show and wanted to rewatch the show to let it resonate a little bit more. So with all that said, this will be Stranger Things Season 3, Chapter 1, or Season 3, Episode 1, the Season 3 premiere. The title of this episode is called Suzie, Do You Copy? And this will be my review reaction recap after just finishing watching the episode. In 1984, two scientists power up a large cannon-like machine. As a group of government officials watch, the machine shoots a beam of electricity into the wall, starting to open up a gate until it malfunctions and explodes, melting the scientists near it. The general in attendance has the lead scientist killed by a large man for his failure and orders the second scientist, in Russian, to complete the machine within a year. The general and the large man leave by helicopter, revealing their location to be Russia. So we start out with that, and then we go to Eleven and Mike make out on her bed, interrupted by an annoyed Hopper. Eleven having violated his 3-inch minimum rule of keeping her door open. Mike promises to see her tomorrow and bikes late to newly open Starcourt Mall, meeting up with Lucas, Max, and Will Byers. They go to Steve Harrington's new place of employment at the ice cream shop, and he sneaks them into the movie theater through a back door so they can watch Day of the Dead for free. Not a big fan of Steve Harrington's look in this season with the really short shorts, although it's 1980s and that was kind of the thing, but that didn't look good for him, in my opinion. But anyway, the power in the mall and the surrounding areas cuts out, and across the town, at an abandoned steel mill, the dust particles start to swirl as a cloud of black smoke forms and begins chasing the rats nearby. The power comes back on, and the skin on the back of Will's neck flares up, which he recognizes as a sign of the Mind Flayer's presence. He assures Mike that nothing is wrong when he asks, why does Will do this? He's done this multiple times where something goes wrong, but then he said, oh, everything is okay. Anyway, Nancy and Jonathan wake up in his bed together to find his clock reset during the power outage, and they have to hurry to their jobs at the Hawkins post. Joyce notices the magnets on her fridge have fallen, and looks at Will's drawing of Bob Newby before hanging it back up. Bob, awesome character. Really liked him on this rewatch. I liked him before, but now, like his character, he's a top 10 character on Stranger Things, in my opinion. But Dustin returns from a month-long science camp to seemingly no reception. Eleven manipulates his toys into leading him to his living room where his friends wait to surprise him, but they scare him into spraying Lucas in the eye with his hairspray. And then at the Hawkins community pool, Karen and her fellow mothers just drool over Billy, now working at a lifeguard job, and he compliments Karen as he passes. Hopper visits Joyce at work to complain about Eleven and Mike's interactions with him and decides to break them up, but Joyce instead encourages him to talk to them like adults and tells him that for it to work, he must stay calm when talking to them no matter what. Nancy delivers food to the Hawkins Post workers and suggests to the all-male writers that they run a story on the mall competing local businesses, but it is laughed off. Dustin shows his most complicated camp invention to his friends, a powerful radio tower dubbed Cerebro, which is a direct copy of the X-Men, which they talk about. He claims its primary purpose is to talk to his long-distance girlfriend, Suzie. This revelation shocking his friends, and they leave to go set it up and talk to her. Steve, forced to work at the ice cream shop by his father after not getting into college, fails to secure a date with a female customer and is basically gunned on by his female coworker, and she's a sarcastic coworker, Robin, on a board that tracks his repeated failed attempts at flirtation. He removes the company's outfit hat and tries again to flirt, failing again. Hopper writes a speech for Mike and Eleven with Joyce's help, and he asks her out on a date, which she politely declines. The kids hike up a hill to establish the strongest signal possible, and Mike and Eleven leave together so he can get her home in time, which the boys observe is a lie, while Max finds it cute. Will's neck flares up again, and dozens of rats will run by him, hundreds converging on the mill. They scamper down to the basement, where they convulse and explode into blobs of fleshy goo. Billy stares at Karen while she swims and stops her when she gets out, inviting her to take swimming lessons with him at a nearby motel that night, and she accepts despite being flustered and married, for one. Joyce eats at home alone while watching Cheers and remembers watching it with Bob. So we have a new scene of Bob. I forgot that Bob returned in season 3. In fact, I don't even remember him being in it. So that was a little bit of a surprise to see Sean Astin in season 3 of Stranger Things. And the magnets on our fridge fall again. Cleaning the office after hours, Nancy gets a call from a woman named Doris about a story involving disease and rats. Mike and Eleven again make out on her bed, and Hopper calmly asks to enter, giving them time to pretend like they were not kissing before coming in. He tries to read to them his prepared speech, but is interrupted by Mike's sarcastic remarks. Irate, he abruptly claims he got a call from Karen telling Mike to come home as his grandmother is sick, and takes Mike to his police cruiser. Inside, he prepares to give Mike a angrier, less considerate version of his speech, and that he will possibly continue to allow you to date my daughter by the end, and drives off. Suzie does not answer Dustin's calls, leading Lucas and Max to conclude she does not exist. The kids leave Dustin alone, and a voice speaking Russian sounds through the radio, repeatedly saying the message, "The silver cat feeds when blue meets yellow in the west. A trip China sound nice if you treat a trend lightly. The week is long." The scientist from the opening walks through the base where the message is being broadcast from and watches something being built, which is one of his coworkers being referred to as beautiful. I must have mistyped something in there. That's why I kind of stumbled through that. Karen prepares for her encounter with Billy by dressing up and removing her wedding ring. She looks at a snoring Ted Wheeler curled up with their daughter Holly, and reconsiders. Billy drives while he practices lines to use on Karen. Something smashes the windshield of his car and sends him into the side of the mill as he finds a strange liquid on the windshield. A fleshy tendril drags him by his ankle into the basement, and that's what ends this episode of Stranger Things. So, not the best premiere in my opinion. This start of the season, as I'm a couple episodes ahead now, is a little not good, but I remember really liking the Stranger Things season 3, so I'm going to give the episode a 7.5 out of 10. My character of the episode is going to be Hopper, and I didn't really pick any secondary characters in this one, so you've heard everything that I have to say. Now it's your turn. If you're a fan of Stranger Things and you want to help me out with the YouTube algorithm, please make sure that you Hulk smash the like button. It does help the channel quite a bit. Share the video with a friend. Put this video on any one of your social media platforms. Don't forget to sound off in the comment section about what your thoughts are on this episode of Stranger Things. What would you rate it, and who would you choose as your character of the episode? Don't forget to sound off in the comment section, like I just said. And then last but certainly not least, don't forget to hit that sub button. You're watching the video anyway. Subscribe to the channel. Help me get over 100,000 subscribers as I set my goals really high. Join the team, show your damn support, and be a part of something special. And you never know what you're going to see on JDEV TV.